I've achieved a straight A GPA studying just 10 minutes a day. By applying strategies from the top 1% of university students, I made a game-changing studying system after 3 months of research. And in this video, I'm going to reveal how you can set up my learning system in just 9 minutes to start getting quick A's yourself. But first, let me tell you a story. I was in 11th grade trying to figure out my situation. I'm staring at my new timetable and my heart sinks. Classes from 8 to 5 back to back. My confidence crumbled when my physics teacher casually dropped the bombshell. Learn the entire Greek alphabet by next week. But this was borderline crazy. Even if I spent hours writing down the entire Greek alphabet, I would still struggle to remember it later and get a C in the test. So I made a bold decision. It would be my mission to find a much better technique to memorize vocabulary, even if it meant risking my grades in the short term. Luckily, it didn't take long to find my first clue. On day 5 of browsing forums and websites for hours, I found a post on Reddit written by Coinkydink. They introduced me to a concept that turned out to be by far the most important and yet also the most overlooked. Let's get some help from an old English philosopher who noted, if you read a piece of text through 20 times, you will not learn it by heart so easily as if you read it 10 times while attempting to recite it from time to time and consulting the text when your memory fails. This observation is named active recall. It has been scientifically proven and builds the foundation for the most effective learning to date. So, instead of mindlessly reading the Greek alphabet 20 times, I turned to flashcards. On the front, I'd put the Greek letter, on the back, its name. This simple switch increased the effectiveness of my studying, as I'm forcing myself to retrieve that information from my brain, which strengthens the neural connections and makes it easier to remember. So, equipped with active recall, my studying changed a lot. Memorization became easier, and I immediately got better results. But here's the thing. As I made more and more flashcards, trying to review them all every day became a real pain. I started slacking off, which was totally not what I set out to do. However, weeks later, seeing my old tabs, I noticed that I actually haven't fully read the valuable posts, as it mentioned another idea, which would reduce my efforts by another 80%. So this second technique was something I completely neglected, when in reality, it should have been the first thing for me to see. Doing flashcards means the decks grow in size, and so does the time spent on reviewing them. If I had to review all my cards daily, this technique wouldn't be successful for my mission, because it takes too much time. However, when you first learn something, yeah, it's pretty tough to remember. But after you've recalled it a few times, it starts to stick. So you don't need to keep drilling it as often. This is the second scientific principle we need to understand and use. Spaced repetition. When you get aware of spaced repetition, you know how to save time through the forgetting curve, which means that you need to revise a certain piece of information increasingly sparsely to recall it. It's like saying, yeah, you should active recall, but not every day. Actually, less and less. You still get the results. So I started spacing out my reviews. Easy cards, see them less often. Tough ones, keep them coming back. Now instead of daily Greek alphabet torture, I'd see a card on day 1, then 4, 12, and so on. I gotta say, it worked. However, managing a ton of flashcards got messy real quick. Each card needed its own review schedule for maximum efficiency. To make it all work, it took hours of extra work again. I hit a wall. Could I really memorize everything with just as little as 10 minutes a day? Some Greek letters were a breeze, but others? They kept slipping away. I was sort of drowning in schedules for individual cards. Was there even such a superior technique? I couldn't quit now. I'd come too far, there had to be something I was missing. Some crucial strategy or tool. And indeed, some anxious research later, I found myself in the clutter of weird memorization software, but realized I discovered the holy grail of flashcards. As someone in the studying scene, I already heard of it, but I never actually checked it out. So this next tool I'm about to share with you is perhaps the most disregarded thing of them all, and yet is the main drive of the forbidden efficiency using the concepts we already mastered. For me, analog flashcards were inherently flawed, as managing all of them was extremely tedious. However, the tool I found organizes and schedules all my flashcards for me. With this, I could tackle hundreds of new terms and learn them all effortlessly within a month. I found this magic on the most unsuspecting homepage, the open source software called Anki. Either by directly installing the Anki software or going on ankiweb.net with an account I had to create first, I got a dull interface. I got skeptical, but noticed how everything is truly optimized for efficiency and synchronized across devices. Instead of going over all the functions alone, I'm going to give you my favorite way of using Anki, which saved me tons of hours of manual flashcard creation at home, as we don't want to treat this app as homework, but as your new way of taking notes. So, to start, still at home or before class, I hit the Create Deck button at the bottom and give it a fitting name. On the iPad or phone, you find the same function under Add/Export, and then add empty deck. My current deck structure features a main category named after the school year and then all the subjects, followed by their sub-themes. I'm just used to a folder-like structure. Before I create any cards though, I have to mention that the default settings of Anki produce unnecessary effort. Fortunately, we can change that, but only in the desktop app. So if you can, pause the video to copy these settings or check the link in the description for some screenshots. Now, when class starts, I sit there with my iPad, or laptop in your case, and now the teacher speaks of an important fact which I have to memorize. I can now go on ankiweb.net, go under the Add section and create a basic flashcard, select the relevant deck, put in a specific question on the front and the answer on the back, and bam! You just took a note you will never forget again. But here is where it gets wild. Maybe the teacher shows a specific law with key terms, where a sort of fill-in-the-blank card would be more fitting. Just go on the Add section again, but this time I change the card type to close. Now I copy the entire sentence and then highlight Ctrl-Shift-C, which should be recalled. The powerful thing here is that multiple blanks mean multiple flashcards. You will revise everything that you left out, but each flashcard only asks for one term. Huge time saver. As a bonus, there's a third powerful card type: image occlusion. As an example, using this would mean taking a screenshot of, for example, an anatomy worksheet, then hitting A in the app to add a flashcard, switching to image occlusion and adding media via the double square icon. You can now draw boxes over the terms you want to memorize, creating multiple flashcards with the same principle as close. For the Greek letters, I actually directly downloaded a deck from ankiweb.net. Just let others do the work for you. These 4 methods to save information via flashcards should be all you need in Anki to start. Now, to review my deck, I click on the top category and look at my first card. I try to recall the answer and tap space to finally check it. If I remember it quickly, I hit good, or 3 on the keyboard, which schedules the card into the future. When I didn't recall, I hit again, or 1 as the shortcut, which means I will revise it in a few minutes. Never hit easy though. Easy sucks. And as the scheduling is further spaced out because of spaced repetition, I see my flashcards less and less. So it was time to add more cards in the span of the school year and check the program daily on my phone via the website or app to review my cards. By now, I have about 1,000 flashcards active in my system, all actively retrievable from my brain. Guess how many I need to review every day? About 3? There are even days where I do nothing. And it's all because of, you remember, spaced repetition and Anki scheduling everything automatically. Although this depends on how many flashcards you add in which amount of time. Equipped with this valuable knowledge, I participated in class and took notes to Anki as we went. Sure, it took a while to do consistently, but after a few months, I was the guy everyone asked for formulas, constants, and vocabulary. My academic success doubled and my work quartered. As a crucial side note, of course, we were talking strongly about the memorization aspect of learning, as understanding and practicing is just as important. But I feel like the memorization is often the most energy-consuming challenge for most people, as we're all just so misguided. So the more efficient your memorization is, the more space you have for understanding the material itself, which is a requirement for memorization in the first place. My Anki reviews usually take less than 5 minutes a day now, but I still need 10 minutes daily. The remaining time often adds up to 2 30 to 60-minute studying sessions right before a challenging exam. The deep work performed there could be talked about in another video. If you're interested, write it in the comments below. No doubt, you can take everything I have explained in this video and start building the system, and you'd probably never have to worry about school ever again. But the truth is, it is much easier said than done. There is much more to successful learning than just this. You have to make sure that you actually possess enough self-efficacy to even feel appropriate to the performance you may achieve now. Resultantly, if you sabotage yourself at any step of your studying, your next grade will suck. So to understand and fix that, I highly recommend that you check out this video right here, where I give you the best overview on self-esteem and enable you to improve it with actionable practices. A paradigm shift.